Welcome to an example which we're finding the tangent of 11 pi over 12 using exactly using sum or difference formulas. So let me write it right here for us. Tangent of 11 pi over 12. Now, the problem with 11 pi over 12, first off, we cannot use our calculator, right? Exactly, we cannot have not a rounded decimal. That's what they're saying. If you were to hit the buttons on your calculator, you could do it, tangent of 11 pi over 12, but you would just get a decimal that goes forever. You'd have to round it, and then once it's rounded, it's no longer exact. So we can't do that. We won't get an exact answer. So what can we do? We can go to the unit circle, find 11 pi over 12, right? Here's the unit circle. Problem is, let me erase this. Problem is there's no 11 pi over 12, right? 11 pi over 6 is as big as we get. There's no 11 pi over 12. Or there's 5 pi over 6, but anyway, there's no 11 pi over 12. So it's not there. It just simply ain't there. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, what I would suggest, first off, is just to change it to degrees. So plug in right there for pi. Remember what pi is. Pi is 180 degrees. So this will become 11 times 180 all over 12. Now, you can reduce that without a calculator, right? You don't need a calculator for that. Just divide this by 6 and divide this guy by 6. And what do we get? 11. So what's 180 divided by 6? What's 18 divided by 6? That's 3. Then put on the 0. 30 degrees. And 12 divided by 6 is 2. Right? And so then, what can we do from there? 30 times 11 is 330. Right? You just, 3 times 11 is 33. Put the 0 on the back. And then half of 330. That's pretty easy. Right? You're just taking half of 300 and half of 30. Half of 300 is 150. And half of 30 is 15, so that's 165. Right? You can long divide if you want by hand. 330, 2 goes into 3. 1 time, bring down the 3. 6 times, bring down the 0. 5 times. There it is, 165. Half of 300 and half of 30. 15 and 150 and 15, 165. All right, so we got the angle. So this question then, without using a calculator, we've been able to figure out that they're really asking us to give them the tangent of 165 degrees. That's what they want. Tangent of 165. So let me, again, we'll go to the unit circle down here. There's no 165 degrees, right? Here's 150, here's 180. There's no 165 on the unit circle, so how in the world are we going to do the tangent of 165? Well, the hint is right here, using the sum or difference formula. So let's go grab the tangent sum or difference formula down here on your formula sheet that I provided for you in the notes on the Canvas course. So tangent sum or difference right there. So notice how it goes. How does it go? Tangent, 2 angles added, and this is tangent added on the top and 1 plus or minus tangent multiplied on the bottom. So notice plus or minus here, plus or minus same thing there, opposite there. Let me make this bigger for you. Do you see this? See how this sign here is the same and this one's opposite? So watch all that closely when you use the tangent formula. So let's write it. So how does it go? It goes, in fact, actually, let me just write it down here. Tangent of x plus or minus y is tangent of x plus or minus tangent of y all over 1 minus, or no, so 1 minus or plus, that's upside down, notice, tangent x times tangent y. Again, notice this sign compared to that, it's opposite. And this compared to that is same. Okay, so how are we going to do this problem? Well, somehow we've got to have an x and a y that make 165 degrees. How can we do that? How can we have an x and a y that make 100, either adding or subtracting? And we got to use these angles we know on the unit circle. How can we make 165 degrees by adding or subtracting a couple of these angles? Well, there's a couple of ways we could do it. We could take 135 and add 30, right? that would do it. That'd make 165. So I'll just do that. 135 plus 30. All right. There's probably a lot of other ways you could have done it as well. So I'm going to make this the tangent of 135 plus 30. That's our 165, isn't it? Okay. Right? So you're tracking with me. That's 165 is 135 plus 30. So x is 135, y is that. So it's tangent. So x, again, is right here. X is 135. And the sign, whatever sign you have in the middle here, plus, remember this is the same. Tangent and y was what? 30 degrees. Over 1, and then this is opposite, so this will be minus. Tangent, again, x is 135 times, and then the y is 30. Okay, so what is this going to equal? Well, now we got to go to the unit circle and find these. We got to find tangent of 135 in these two spots. Let's go find tangent 135. So if we go to the unit circle, here's our 135. So this is cosine and sine, right? And so tangent of 135 degrees. Remember, it's always sine over cosine, tangent is. So sine is root 2 over 2 over cosine, which is negative root 2 over 2. So remember how you handle fractions over fractions. You grab the 1 on the bottom and you flip it upside down and multiply it. So root 2 over 2 times 2 over negative root 2. Right, I took this guy and flipped, because dividing is upside down multiplying. So if I multiply it upside down, that'll work. And so see what happens? These all cancel, except for the negative sign, so you get negative 1, don't you? So the tangent of 135 is negative 1. Let's bring that back. So the tangent, so this is going to equal tangent of 135, negative 1, plus, and then on the bottom, right, so I'm making this negative 1 and this guy negative 1. Negative 1 right there. We good? And now we need tangent of 30. Let's go find the tangent of 30. So here's 30. So we need the tangent. So this is cosine sine. So the tangent of 30 degrees, remember it's sine over cosine. So it's a half over root 3 over 2. Grab this guy and flip it up. So the half times 2 over root 3. These guys cancel. 1 over root 3. And we can't leave square roots in the denominator. So we multiply top and bottom by root 3 and go straight. 1 times root 3 is root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9. And the root of 9 is plane 3. So there we go. The tangent of 30 degrees is root 3 over 3. So the tangent of 30 degrees right here, root 3 over 3, right here, root 3 over 3. So this is root 3 over 3 right there, and this is root 3 over 3 right there. Okay, and this is all going to be the tangent. What does this make? 165. Okay, we got a little algebra to do here, though, a little work. So what are we going to do with this thing? Well, first thing we can do is let's make it negative 1 plus root 3 over 3. On the bottom, 1 minus a minus is going to be plus, isn't it? And root 3 over 3, because 1 times root 3 over 3 is just root 3 over 3, isn't it? And the two negatives made a positive. Okay, so now what do we do with this thing? This is fractions over fractions. Do you remember? We've had this a couple times. When you have fractions over fractions, what do you do about it? You multiply the top and the bottom, all terms, by the LCD over 1. And what in the world is the LCD? LCD is 1 of each type of item under the small bars. So you got to look at the things. So here's an item and here's an item under small bars. We're not talking about the major bar. We're talking about the small bar and the items under the small bars. So the LCD is just one of those, not both those threes, but just one of those, right? One of each type that's under the small bar. So just 3, and we multiply by LCD over 1. So we're going to multiply 3 over 1, 3 over 1, 3 over 1, and 3 over 1. All the terms, top and bottom, by LCD over 1. All right, we're getting close now. What becomes of this? Well, 3 over 1 times negative 1, that's just negative 3, right? That dividing by 1 doesn't change anything. Plus, here these guys cancel, and it's root 3 over 1. Again, we ignore the 1 on the bottom. Here that's just 3 times 1, 3. Plus, and here they cancel, root 3. So there we go. Whoops. There we go. There is our final and simplified answer for the tangent of 100. Whoops, I didn't do that too well. And 165 degrees. We got an exact answer, not a rounded decimal. It was a lot of work. We had to use the sum difference formula and be really careful with all of our signs in that one.